crazy Chapter 3 that was. We beat the Bone Man and cured the Kraken.
Which saved the Pacific Northwest peoples and the people of the Plateau tradition.
Then Deadeye went and got the tar, while I went to the Cree to try to find the wolf spirit.
So of course I used that tar to run off and bake the clay into the seal that we need to make through the course of our campaign.
I tried to get past the Wendigo spirits guarding the wolf, but I couldn't, so I called the professor for help.
And of course I could help, so I very quickly crafted a secret weapon that cleared the way past the Wendigos and straight into that wolf den. That kindly old wolf jumped right into our wheel.
But now we're surrounded. How are we going to get out of this one?
Chapter 4: Magical Creations and Ancient Locations.
Oh no, Professor, we're surrounded!
I'm not certain what to do.
The story said that they sang and it melted their hearts.
Sing? Are we supposed to sing?
I mean, I've tried everything else I know of.
Very well.
And so they
Don't
sang.
let the caving get you down. Don't let the falling rocks turn your smile into a frown. When the tunnel's as dark as that's when you need a clown. Hey!
And sang.
Don't fall in love with the traveling girl. She'll leave you broken hearted. Even if you're lost, you can't lose the love because it's in your heart.
And sang.
Two lovers forbidden from one another. A war divides their people.
And it was either so good or so bad it melted the Wendigo.
Divides them apart. Build a path to be together. Yeah, I forget the next couple lines, but then it goes. Secret tunnel, through the mountains. Secret tunnel. Yeah.
It worked!
I can't believe it.
Oh, let's go!
Subarctic saved.
Wow, that was amazing, Professor!
It was indeed. Well, you know, Kevin, my mother once described my singing voice as delightfully horrible.
Well, I can agree with that. It was so bad it melted the giants. You know, Professor, I think we should stick together from here on out.
Agreed. That was quite frightening.
So where to now?
Oh, I'm not certain. Oh, what's this in my pocket? Oh, I nearly forgot. This is the lab results given to me by Dr. Squatch back in Area 51. Remember, I asked him to analyze the paint.
Well, that should tell us where to find it.
Let's see here. Red dot. Happy Valley Goose Bay.
Oh, that's in Labrador.
Labrador, and it sounds good, jolly, and safe. I like Labradors. They're good dogs.
No, not the dog. It's a place in Canada. Come on, it's gonna be cold.
Either way, Happy Valley Goose Bay sounds joyous and safe.
Evidence of the first people to arrive in Canada's Atlantic coast appears around 9,000 years before the Common Era in southern Labrador at L'Anse-aux-Morts. Archaeologists discovered the burial of a child about 12 years old beneath a low rock mound that measured about 30 feet around.
This happens to be the oldest burial mound found in the Americas.
In addition to the child's bones, the gravesite included a toggling harpoon, a handle made of antler, a walrus tusk, and some fish bones.
This is a clear demonstration of how people have adapted to the sea for hunting and travel.
And boy, did they adapt!
They hunted deer and moose just like all the other tribes in the subarctic, but their favorite foods could only be found at sea. Seals, walrus, tuna, and swordfish were all on the menu, but the people had to go far out on the open ocean to find them. So they became experts on the open sea during a time when almost no one else in the world was brave enough to sail out that far, which is why we now refer to this ancient society as the Maritime Archaic Tradition, which had occupied the areas from southern Maine to northern Labrador.
Intelligence check.
Professor, what's with all these piles of rocks everywhere?
Why, well, these piles of rocks were all stacked by people. Actually, it's an ancient tradition, an ancient standing stone tradition that has influence all over the world.
This pile of rocks.
Why, well, certain they have their reasons for abundant rock stacking.
Yeah, like too many rocks.
Aha, well, actually, various Inukshuks served different purposes, usually landmarks, or guideposts, or gravesite markers. You see, they would balance large stones atop one another in such a way that could be read by a traveler. In this way, they wouldn't get lost.
Kind of like lighthouses.
Exactly.
Sometimes that would be a really tall stack on the beach so a sailor could find his way home or to remember a good spot to launch his boat. Sometimes it could be made like a window, so when you look through it, it shows you the next stack, so you know which path to follow.
So, as you can see, standing stone traditions can be found all over the world, in places like Russia, Kazakhstan, and even England. Archaeologists are not certain whether or not these standing stone traditions are related, as in people influencing each other to stack Inukshuk-type standing stones, or if everybody just kind of started doing it all on their own.
So, Professor, do you think the red ochre will have anything to do with these Inukshuks?
I'm not certain. It was the correct culture.
Well, there's a lot of them out there. How would we know which one it is?
Oh, I have no idea. We're going to be searching for a long time. It's not like they would put a "Choose Me" sign on it or paint it red or something. This is going to take some searching.
Spot check. Spot the correct Inukshuk.
Hey, Professor, there's a red one right over there.
I don't yank my chain. Don't pull my
No,
leg.
no, really, look. There's a red Inukshuk.
Ah, so it is. Ha! Let's go.
I'll try it.
Why, good find, Kevin. What we have here is a window type Inukshuk, and you can tell by the way the rocks are assembled down here that it tells you exactly where you're supposed to go. Unfortunately, I cannot read that, and I'm certain you probably can't either.
Let's just go in.
Alright, let's see where it goes.
My name is Anouk, and I shiver with cold. What have I just done?
Answer the riddle of the rock.
Inukshuk!
Physical challenge. 10 push-ups to hold back the wall. Pause and complete before continuing.
Alright, Professor. We know the red ochre was made here.
Indeed.
The paint. But how are we gonna make it? It's not like the natives left their recipe book lying around.
No, but I'm certain we will find some clue here somewhere. We'll have to scout out a bit and see what turns up.
Alright, let's start looking.
Search check. Find 10 different red items around you to continue. Pause the video and complete the challenge to continue.
My goodness! Ha! Kevin, come look! I think I found something.
Oh?
Indeed, I found something. This is a swordfish bill. That means this site is definitely maritime archaic, because only the maritime archaics could go out deep enough water to fetch such a lovely prize as the real sword bill of a swordfish.
How does that help us make the red ochre?
Look at this. We found a clue.
Pause the video, decode the message to continue. Recipe.
Alright, Professor, now that we have the recipe for the red ochre, what's so special about these guys anyway?
Well, let me tell you.
Around 3,000 years before the Common Era, the maritime archaic people began using red ochre by spreading it all over the body and goods in a grave. This was probably part of a burial ceremony. It is the oldest kind of paint ever found that we know of, but of course we are still searching. Now, we do find red ochre use going on a long time before the maritime archaic tradition. In fact, as close as New England and the Ohio Valley, we find a tradition called the Red Paint People, who also boasted the use of red ochre. There's a few places in Mexico where red ochre use has been discovered, and some experts claim that the Neanderthals used red ochre for their burials. Now, sir, that is old.
Oh, you there!
Oh, boy.
You must be Professor Deadeye and Kevin.
Oh, yes, indeed, that's us.
We need your help. Inukshuks are rising. Things are out of balance.
Inukshuks? Rising? I don't be absurd. Inukshuks don't rise, they're just piles of rocks.
It appears as though the rocks are more like a hat for a giant underneath.
A hat. I see. So, what do you suppose we should do about this one then?
Figure it out?
Figure it out. You got this one, Kevin?
Professor, there's a hole in its foot.
Why, so there is!
Let's go in.
Now entering the foot. Physical challenge. Balance while we are in quicksand. Lose 1 point anytime you fall or stumble.
Oh no, Professor, quicksand.
I can't believe it's one thing after the other.
Nook shucks. Before we sink any further, can you reach your rope?
I'm not sure. Maybe I can find it down here somewhere. There it is. All right then.
Here, I'll try to hook that branch.
Aye, good lad. All right, give it a toss. Will you please hurry?
All right, just a few more pulls.
Entering the head. You can stop balancing.
How are we gonna get through this, Professor? I have no idea. We are out of stuff.
It would help if we could fly. Aye. Try the wheel. It worked with the buffalo. Try eagle. Right, how does it work?
Almighty Eagle Spirit! We could really use a hand right now!
The view's incredible from up here. My goodness, Kevin, look around. The inside of this Inukshuk is made entirely of chert, the highest quality chert.
What's chert?
Between 6,000 and 5,000 years before the present, they began to use a new type of stone which was discovered in northern Labrador. This was Lama Chert. It's a distinctive translucent gray stone that became the hallmark of the maritime archaic technology. These distinctive tools and weapons include a type of narrow spear with a dart point that had a stemmed base, flaked stone knives, and small scrapers for prepping hides. They also made polished stone woodworking tools like axes, adzes, and gouges.
Entering the brain. Watch your step.
Well now, what have we here?
This must be what they meant when things were out of balance.
Ah, yes indeed.
But what do we balance it with, Professor?
I'm not certain.
Can you think of what to use?
Chert!
Did you choose the Chert arrowheads?
Well, that was easy. Oh no, it's sinking! We gotta get out of here!
Physical challenge! Run in place to escape the Inukshuk! Escaped the Inukshuk!
Alright, Professor. Where to next?
I'm not certain, but I sure could use a break.
Back to headquarters?
Alright, good plan.
Arctic region saved. Back to Area 51.
My goodness, that was a long walk.
Hey guys.
Who are you talking to?
These guys.
I'm telling you, Kevin, there's no such thing as aliens.
Okay. Okay, so the last one we need is the bear. Where do you think we can find that?
A bear.
Alright, well, why don't we get ahead of the game? While we think about that, you can start making the ink.
Right, absolutely. Give me a moment. I'll be right back with some influence.
2 hours later.
Alright then, this should be everything I need to create our ink. I've got walnut shells, iron oxide, and of course, a bit of this special stuff right here. So, I'm ready to go, sir.
Okay, the best I can come up with for bears is Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. Yellowstone, another fantastic place. Looking forward to that one.
But first, Deadeye made the special ink for the seal. Then they were off again, this time to Yellowstone.
So Kevin, did you know that Yellowstone National Park is actually a supermassive volcano? But if you look around, you'd be like, oh, I don't see any volcano.
I don't see any volcano.
See? Well, that's because most of the park is the volcano, and it's huge! In fact, look here. All of these geysers and mud pots and other things are evidence of the volcano letting pressure off from right below our feet. In fact, it's that pressure that keeps Old Faithful going off on time, all the time.
Is it safe to be here?
Usually. So now, consider what we mean by super or supermassive volcano. What this term indicates is that a volcanic eruption registers at a magnitude of 8 or greater on the volcanic explosivity index.
Yellowstone has had 3 such eruptions. The first and largest of these volcanic episodes occurred 2.1 million years ago and is thought to have been 6,000 times larger than the famous Mount St. Helens eruption of 1980.
It erupted again 1.2 million years ago, and yet again 640,000 years ago. This left us some of the most amazing fossil beds in North America.
After this last volcanic event, the area collapsed upon itself, which created a giant sunken crater known as a caldera, which measures 1,500 square miles.
Yellowstone seismic activity is closely monitored by the Yellowstone Volcanic Observatory with the assistance of the University of Utah. And while we're happy to report, we're not expecting any eruptions anytime soon.
Well, that's good.
Hi.
Intelligence check.
Well, Professor, what's that sign say?
I'm not sure. I don't have that alphabet in my Codex.
I'm sure it's not important.
Agreed.
All right, Professor, we need to find the bears.
Well, I suggest that we lure them to us.
Ooh, some bait. All right,
Absolutely.
how do we do that?
Well, when I was a child, I saw a foolproof technique happen repeatedly on Saturday mornings.
Oh?
All we need to do is have a picnic, and the bears will come to us.
All right.
Yeah.
Yogi Bear is smarter than the average bear. Yogi Bear is always in the ranger's hair. At a picnic table you will find him there. Stuffing down more goodies than the average bear. He will sleep till noon, but before it starts, he'll have every picnic basket that's in jelly from Mars. Yogi has it better than a millionaire. That's because he's smarter than the average bear.
Hey, boo-boo. I see people, but no picnic basket. You there with the hat?
Who, me?
Where's the picnic basket?
Oh, you're Yogi. I know you. Well, sorry, good fellow, but we've just finished our lunch. Perhaps you should come back later.
Well, perhaps you should go take for me a picnic basket so that I may partake in this picnic.
Are you recommending that I steal?
You need my help, don't you?
Sir, I will not stand for such advice, and I shall not steal from anyone. Not ever, no matter what the need.
Hey, boo-boo. They passed the test. You, I will now help. It was all a test to see if you were of upstanding moral character. I will tell you where the bear is.
Oh, most excellent, thank you.
The actual bears you seek are hiding in Mammoth Cave.
Mammoth Cave. Kentucky.
The last place you'd go looking for a bear.
Well, such helpful bears, Professor, but Mammoth Cave is all the way in Kentucky. How are we going to get there?
We better move fast. I have an idea. Good thing I brought one of these.
A spur?
Why, yes, well, this is the spur of Attila. I checked it out of the museum archives for just this sort of situation.
How's that going to help us out?
Well, Attila the Hun had a special horse named Othar, a heavenly horse, and according to legend, this should summon the heavenly horses to our aid.
So now you believe in magic all of a sudden?
Of course not, don't be silly, but according to legend, this should do the trick.
So what's a heavenly horse?
During the time of ancient Greece, there was a wild, noble horse that no one could tame, for he was too swift and fierce.
Then one day, a boy named Alexander, who was already 9 years old, managed to catch, ride, and tame that wild horse. The people were amazed by such a deed and declared Alexander great. So Alexander the Great named him Bucephalus, and they became great friends. Alexander soon learned that Bucephalus's parents were the famous mares of Diomedes, the flying, fire-breathing, flesh-eating, battle-crazed horses that fought with Hercules during the 12 Labors story. Alexander was impressed, so he and Bucephalus rode off together, conquered Greece, Egypt, and Persia, built a huge empire, then died.
Along the way,
The mighty Bucephalus fathered many young horses who inherited their father's noble bearing, stamina, and ferocity. These are known today as the heavenly horses. The most famous are the Fergana horses from Chinese legends, where the heavenly horses term actually comes from. But Bucephalus went a lot of places, so we find heavenly horses everywhere, and they are always considered to be the highest of champion breeds. We've already mentioned that Attila the Hun rode a heavenly horse. His name was Othar. But Mulan rode one too, and his name was Khan. And Genghis Khan had two. Both of his famous white stallions were heavenly horses. And of course, the famous Hannibal who attacked Rome using elephants, well, his heavenly horse was named Strategos, and Strategos could gallop over deep snow and over tall mountains. In fact, Julius Caesar also had a heavenly horse, Genitor, and he could only be ridden by an emperor. Now there was another heavenly horse named Incitatus, and he was so noble and so grand that he was declared a senator of Rome by the Emperor Caligula himself. Now, when the Spanish arrived in the Americas, they brought horses with them. Many of their horses were champion war horses of the heavenly horse lineage. A lot of these horses escaped from the Spanish or were taken by the native people during raids. It didn't take long for large herds of wild horses to spread across the continent. But these horses had changed. They had become a new kind of horse that we call the North American Mustang.
So there you have it. Real-life magic ponies, right here in North America.
Well, that's all and well and good, but how does the spur work?
I'm not certain. No, it doesn't do that. Normally, a spur would be worn on the heel of one's boot. It would fit just like so.
Oh, excellent. I think that's Shadowfax.
Oh, my goodness, it is! The Lord of all horses! Why, hello there, Shadowfax!
Are you from New Zealand?
What? We can't ride you? Well, why not? We were just
Where's Gandalf?
I'm not sure. Last I saw, he was having tea with Asnas.
Maybe he fell in a well?
So, about our ride. I was wondering, Kentucky is a long ways off, and wait, shut up! No, you just ran off.
Professor, I think that's our ride.
Oh, excellent!
American Mustang.
Well, we're going deep into Mound Builder territory now. So, before we get there are a few things you should know about. What we should discuss now is that there was more than one Mound Builder civilization. In fact, there were many. And the most long-lasting and influential of these civilizations was called the Mississippian Mound Builders tradition. The Mississippian Mound Builders flourished in the eastern, southeastern, and midwest areas of the United States from about 800 years AD until around 1500 years AD. During this period, they refined their ceramic techniques using mussel shells. They improved their building style from simple earthwork mound construction to more complicated platform mounds. They also got involved with and expanded on the Southeastern Ceremonial Complex, which was an enormous trade network. Through this network, the Mississippian cultural influence spread throughout the continent. It reached as far west as the Rocky Mountains, north to the Great Lakes, south to the Gulf Coast, and east to the Atlantic seashore. These sites are distinguished by the types of art and artifacts that we find, including pottery, conch shell gorgets, cups, statuary, and long-nosed god masquettes. Even the woodworking carvings of animals crafted by the Calusa people of South Florida were also made and painted in the Mississippian style.
They had no writing system, nor did they build with stone. But they did learn to work copper by hammering or annealing it to making ornamental and ritual items.
They understood mathematics and astronomy, as seen in the way they aligned the mounds to match the positions and movements of specific stars, constellations, the sun,
moon, and planets.
Professor, the Earth is opening up!
Oh no! It's the mid-continent rift! Faster!
We're gonna have to go around!
Quick, that way! In that way!
But it brings us right to the Cahokia! Oh no! Not the Cahokia!
Imagine, if you will, a Native American civilization that built pyramids, astronomical observatories, and committed human sacrifice.
This is not the Maya or Aztecs of Mexico. This culture rose up from the Mississippi Valley and is known today as one of archaeology's greatest mysteries.
Cahokia was the largest city to be built north of Mexico before the time of Columbus. This culture first appears around 700 years AD, and by 1250 years AD, it was larger than London, with a population of over 15,000 people and 120 large earthen mounds. Many of these mounds are massive, square-bottomed, flat-topped pyramids, where their leaders could live above the city streets. At the heart of the city, in the center of a large plaza, stands the largest earthwork in North America, the 16-acre, 100-foot-tall Monk's Mound. So large, it required 14 million baskets of dirt, each carried by hand using human workers to build this colossal monument. A truly amazing feat indeed. Around the great city, farmers grew abundant crops to feed the large population of government officials, religious leaders, trades workers, artisans, coppersmiths, astronomers, and they even supported a minor hardware industry. They traded for salt from their neighbors, copper from Lake Superior, shells from the Gulf of Mexico, chert from Oklahoma, and sparkling mica from the Carolinas. Soon, Cahokia became the center of the trade network that linked most of the other societies across the eastern woodlands and was one of the most advanced cultures in all of North America. They were able to maintain a mostly peaceful society through generous gift-giving as a way of demonstrating respect and loyalty. Such gift-giving was used to ease tension and keep peace between the tribes. It was not always peaceful, however. Human sacrifice? Nope, not peaceful. But we also have found evidence of many wars. The city featured a wooden stockade fence that required over 20,000 poles and stretched for several miles around it. This defensive wall was burned and rebuilt at least 3 times, thus indicating siege warfare against it.
Oh, Jerry! Oh, he was a good horse.
Intelligence check!
That was a fine trip, and we made good use of this. Oh, good heavens, Kevin! It's the Cahokia!
Hey man, we're actually not the Cahokia. They left this area like 700 years ago. We're the Illini.
The Illini, of course the Cahokia did. We've all known that. The Illini.
And we're here to help.
Help us. Excellent. Why, thank you. How so?
We heard you're heading for the bear spirit, but the entire Mammoth Cave is surrounded by giants.
Of course.
We do know of a secret way in, though.
Very good.
But it's an ancient passage and guarded by magic.
We specialize in ancient.
You'll need the special password for Meadowcroft and Judicula to get the key at Serpent Mound. That'll let you into the secret entrance behind Mammoth Cave.
Mammoth Cave? Kentucky.
Here, follow us. We'll bring you into Mount 72. That's the underground way.
But Mount 72's dangerous. Oh, I don't like this, Kevin.
It's the only way.
All right.
Meadowcroft Rock Shelter is North America's oldest known location of human habitation.
Before its discovery in 1955, it was widely believed that humans first entered the Americas 13,000 years ago.
So it came as no shock to all the experts that the evidence here dated to 16,000 years ago.
Even more shocking, we find that people continued to live here up until about 300 years ago.
Today, the site is protected by a large modern structure that was built to preserve the site for study while allowing tourists to visit in a safe, non-destructive way.
How are we gonna find the password with all this tourist stuff everywhere?
Well, we should hurry. Everyone's staring at us.
Alright, let's look.
Right, here it is! Kevin, I found it! Good job. Now that we know, we can get on our way. Oh no! It's security! Kevin, run! Seize it! It's the fuzz!
Physical challenge.
Professor, I think we lost him.
Boy, that was close.
Okay, well, we're at Judicula. Let's try to find the password here.
Aye. Well, I imagine it would be on the rock itself.
That's a lot of writing.
Judicula Rock is a mysterious ancient boulder that has petroglyphic writing carved right into it. It's located in the mountains of western North Carolina and was a sacred site for the Cherokee people long before European contact.
Cherokee legends suggest that Judicula was actually a giant who left his mark upon the rock while jumping from mountain to mountain. When he hit, a 7-fingered impression was left, leading us to believe that he had 7 fingers on his left hand.
Our team of experts have discovered a handful of tools at the site, as well as the discovery of a cemetery nearby. This has led us to believe that the writing on Judicula Rock is approximately 3,000 years before the present era, or 5,000 years old.
Supposedly the location is even haunted, and locals say you can hear ghostly sounds emanating from the rock in the nighttime.
The petroglyphs have not yet been deciphered by anyone, so Judicula Rock remains a mystery to this day.
Oh, that looks like it.
Aye, excellent, good job!
Well, now that we've got the password, let's go look for the key. They said it was at Serpent Mound.
Aye, Serpent Mound. Now that is another mound worth mentioning. You see, Kevin, the Great Serpent Mound is the world's largest serpent effigy.
Whoa!
As a rare type of geoglyph, it measures 1,300 feet long by 3 to 5 feet high and is oriented so that its head is at the east and its tail is at the west. Its body is configured to shape a crescent with 7 winding coils, and the whole thing is laid out to match the constellation Draco, and its jaws are open wide, swallowing an egg. Maybe it's the sun, or moon, or maybe a frog. Well, we really don't know, but right next to that egg is a 300 million year old meteor impact crater that we call the Serpent Mound Crater. The mound itself is not quite as old as that. After all, there were no humans 300 million years ago. By testing the handful of artifacts that we find nearby, we have been able to determine that the Great Serpent Mound was only about 1 to 2,000 years old, or we originally thought. Recent discoveries have determined that the area is much, much older than that. In fact, we have found older items that have pushed that time all the way back to 321 BC. Now that is a very large difference. We're not sure who exactly built it. At first, experts gave credit to the Fort Ancient culture that occupied the Ohio Valley from 1000 AD until 1650 AD. But now it is likely to have been the Adena culture or the Hopewell cultures who came before them. The serpent is a sacred spirit that is honored in some form or another by most Native American cultures and is present in their religion and folklore going far back into their history as we've been able to look.
Of course! Serpent Mound is a giant snake now!
Why am I not surprised?
Oh no, how are we gonna get through this?
We should try the password. Try the password.
Password! Well, it's not attacking, but it's still there. What do we do?
I'm not certain.
Good thing I always bring my patented anti-snake spray.
I'm the phobia gun. Good thinking, lad. That's it. One more time. Again. Why, he's running away.
Yeah, that seems to drove it off.
Good job. Why, what's this?
It left something behind. Ah, this must be the key to Mammoth Cave they were talking about.
A skeleton key, no less.
Oh, let's go.
Mammoth Cave is the world's largest known cave system. It's a massive limestone labyrinth with more than 400 miles of mapped areas and over 600 miles of unmapped and unexplored tunnels, chambers, and caverns, plus another 200 caves that are no longer connected to the main cave system. Yes, we've even found that an entire ecosystem developed deep inside the cave that is unique to the area, where there is no sunlight at all. Perpetual darkness has changed some creatures completely.
There's even a kind of fish that doesn't have eyes, because it doesn't need them anymore. It's called the eyeless cave fish.
Native Americans first entered the cave around 12,000 years ago, where they explored and mined in the upper levels. We have found tools, pottery, petroglyphs, skeletons, and the mummified remains of people that died from falls or cave-ins. Today, we have 1,000 active, very well-preserved archaeology sites inside the caves, and new discoveries continue to roll in at a brisk pace.
Some of these explorers claim to have found giant skeletons with horns growing right out of their foreheads. However, all evidence of these giant discoveries have disappeared, which seems to be a commonality with all these giant skeletons. They keep disappearing. Alright, well, this is the back of Mammoth Cave. Hey, Birdie.
Hi, that's a thrush.
Now, where do you suppose that secret door is?
Not certain.
Let's look around.
You are a fine-looking bird.
2 hours later.
You talking to birds again?
Oh, well, he's a thrush. He keeps knocking on the thing there. He's a very, very funny fellow.
Do you see a hole?
I do indeed.
Oh,
The wee bitty bird's showing us something.
let's check it out.
that toilet paper?
They look so cute and cuddly.
Okay, this is getting a little weird.
Professor, the bear's acting weird.
Very weird.
It looks like it's challenging us, but not to combat.
It looks like he's dancing.
A dance-off?
Like we've not done that before.
Alright, get ready.
Bear dance party! You must beat the bear in a dance-off. Go!
Well, you boogie better than I do, Daddy-O. How about it?
Everyone wins in a dance battle.
Haha, Professor! We won the dance-off!
Good job, lad.
Craft alert! As always, we start with a clean, clear workspace, our medicine wheel craft, and colored pencils, crayons, or markers. I look up some drawings of bears, and start my own. We'll be adding the bear to the left, or autumn, or west side. It may be hard to see, but I start by drawing a large circle. I draw another circle in the center of that circle, then 2 more diagonally up and away from the center circle. To make my drawing into a bear instead of a bowling ball, I add oval-shaped ears at the top with a semicircle inside the oval to act as the inside of the ear. I add in the mouth by drawing a W and connect it to the round nose above. From here, it's time to color your bear, so as before, get creative and have fun. Unlike the wolf, the bear is a solitary creature. The bear spirit is very powerful, representing strength and leadership through courage. Bear also represents solitary reflection and looking into oneself for guidance. Call on bear when you are alone and need strength. And with that, all of the animals have been added to our wheel. For this craft, you will need a half cup of frozen or fresh berries, a mixing bowl, a strainer, a half teaspoon of vinegar, and a half teaspoon of salt. Juice the berries by pushing them through a strainer into a bowl. Add the vinegar and salt and stir together. The vinegar helps hold the color together, while the salt acts as a preservative. You can store your ink in a small jar or baby food jar. Be careful, as ink tends to stain, so don't get it on anything that you don't want to have it on it forever.